Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to be talking about types of sentences, and we're going to look at three different types of sentences. We have simple sentences, compound sentences, and complex sentences. Now you might ask, what are these? Now I will go one by one and explain to you. A simple sentence. Now look at this sentence here. We usually eat dinner at 7 p.m. We usually eat dinner at 7 p.m. There's nothing needed for this sentence. It is a complete sentence. Alright? It can stand by its own. It doesn't need anything else. It's just giving you one little idea right there. The school meals are always delivered on time. They're always delivered on time. So that's another simple sentence. It doesn't depend on anything else. All right? So that is what we mean when we talk about a simple sentence. I'll meet you at the shop in 20 minutes. I'll meet you at the shop in 20 minutes. Okay? So that is also a simple sentence. Now let us look at compound sentences. Now compound sentences are sentences that are made up of two simple sentences. A compound sentence links two simple sentences, and what we call a simple sentence, another name would be an independent clause. Doesn't depend on, when we say independent, means it doesn't depend on anything else to make it complete. All right? So a simple sentence is also an independent clause. Simple sentences using a coordinating conjunction. Coordinating conjunctions are and, but, or, and so. Alright? So when you see these in the sentence, it's just joining these two compound sentences together. And remember, these are two independent clauses that we join together to make one sentence. That's why we call it a compound sentence. Here we have fruits and vegetables are low in calories. That's a complete sentence, and you call it a main clause or an independent clause. All right, and look at this. They help avoid obesity. They help avoid obesity. That's another sentence. But look what happened here. It was joined by the word and. So we have fruits and vegetables are low in calories and they help avoid obesity. So we see it was joined by and. You use and, but, or so when you are going to join two sentences together to form a compound sentence. So what are compound sentences again? Compound sentences are sentences that are joined to two simple sentences that are joined to make one sentence. And they are joined by using and, but, or so. And a simple sentence is a sentence that we do not need anything to add to. It just gives you one idea without anything, any word joining up anything on it. Alright? And we also call it an independent clause. Doesn't depend on anything else. Okay, so we talk about simple sentences and compound sentences. Let us go to another type of sentence. Now this other type of sentence we call a complex sentence. Now the complex sentence now is a sentence that include an independent clause and a dependent clause. Now it's going to have something that depends on the independent clause to make it complete. Let me explain to you. A A complex sentence is made up of a main sentence, that's the independent clause, and a dependent clause or sentence. The main sentence stands by itself and makes sense on its own. That is the independent clause. It stands by itself and makes sense on its own. All right. And the dependent sentence does not make sense on its own and therefore cannot stand by itself. A subordinating conjunction joins a dependent sentence to a main independent sentence. All right, see them here? These are the words that will join them. When, before, while, after, where, wherever, because, since, therefore, so, that, in order. All right, look up here. We have a complex sentence. Bread and cereal contains vitamin B and starch. And we did not stop there. We go on. Which gives you energy. Look at this right here. Which gives you energy. That's not a sentence. So we call it a dependent clause because it depends on this one over here. If this one is not there, then this cannot stand by itself. Which gives you energy, because that's not a sentence. Okay? So we are going to join it together now. Bread and cereal contains vitamin B and starch, which gives you energy. All right, let us look at some others, because you can use different words: because, which, where, until, although, and when to join the dependent clauses to the independent clause. All right, so let's look now. We eat fruits and vegetables. That's a sentence. We eat fruits and vegetables. So we call it an independent clause. Doesn't depend on anything. It can stand by itself. Stand on its own. But look at this. Because we want to stay healthy. If you just look at somebody and say, because we want to stay healthy, they're going to wonder, what you mean by that? Or if you say, which are produced in Jamaica, you want to know, what is he talking about? What are produced in Jamaica? And if you say, where, so all of these do not stand on their own. They can't. So we call them dependent clauses. They depend on the main clause. All right, so let's read them now. We eat fruits and vegetables because we want to stay healthy. Right, so the word because right here is joining the two of them together, the subordinate clause with the main clause or the independent clause to make a complete sentence, or to make the sentence, have a little meaning, to make you understand what they actually say. We eat fruits and vegetables which are produced in Jamaica. That's another one. So you see, you have different meanings, but all these words can be used to complete the sentence. We eat fruits and vegetables where they are readily available. We eat fruits and vegetables until we are satisfied. We eat fruits and vegetables although they are sometimes scarce. We eat fruit and vegetables when we are having breakfast. So that is those are good examples of complex sentences. So let's go over them again. A simple sentence is an independent clause. Doesn't need anything else. It can just stand by itself. A compound sentence is made up of two simple sentences or two independent clauses. Remember, a simple sentence is also called an independent clause. All right? Because they don't need anything. So a compound sentence is made up of two simple sentences joined with what? And, but, so, are, on. All right? And a complex sentence now is an independent clause along with a dependent clause. Maybe one or maybe two other dependent clauses go with it to make a complete sentence. All right, so let us look at 3 examples I have right here. Sentences are similar, but you will see what I mean. The first one, our parents are at work. The next one, our parents are at work, but they will soon be home. Our parents are at work, but they will soon be home. Next sentence. Although our parents are at work, we can talk to them on the phone. So although our parents are at work, we can talk with them on the phone. Look at this one now. Our parents are at work. It's a simple sentence because it is an independent clause. The next one. Our parents are at work, but they will soon be home. It is joined with but, so it is a compound sentence. Look at this one. Although our parents are at work, we can talk to them on the phone. So although our parents are at work, comma, we can talk with them on the phone. So we have the independent clause down here. We can talk with them on the phone. That's a sentence together. But if you say although our parents are at work, that's not a sentence. So this is the dependent clause depending on this one. So sometimes the dependent clause begins the sentence and you always have to put a comma. And sometimes it comes after the independent clause. And when it comes after the independent clause, you do not need a comma any at all. All right, let me explain to you. Look at this. Because Mary and Samantha arrived before noon, I did not see them at the station. The first part here is the dependent clause, because if you just look and say because Mary and Samantha arrived before noon, you know that it needs something else, right? And this is what it needs. I did not see them at the station. This is the independent clause because it can stand by its own. But this cannot stand by its own because Mary and Samantha arrived before noon. So this would be a complex sentence. Alright, so we need a comma right there because the dependent clause comes before the independent clause. But look at this now. I did not see them at the station because Mary and Samantha arrived before noon. What we did was to just turn it around, you know. So when the independent clause comes before, you do not put any comma. You do not put any comma. I did not see them at the station because Mary and Samantha arrived before noon. All we did was to just turn it around, you know. See it here? We start with because Mary and Samantha arrived before noon. I did not see them. Then we say I did not see them at the station. That's the independent clause. Because Mary and Samantha arrived before noon. That's the dependent clause. So when the dependent clause comes after the last part, you do not need any comma. Here we have another one. While he waited at the station, comma. So that means this is the very good dependent clause. It depends on the other part. Joe realized the bus was late. Joe realized the bus was late is a sentence. Okay? So the dependent clause comes before, so we put a comma. Here we're going to turn it around now. Joe realized the bus was late. That comes first now. While he waited at the station. Okay? So while he waited at the station is what? A dependent clause. So the dependent clause comes after. So we do not put any comma in this sentence. All right, so I'm going to give you a few sentences now, and you are going to decide if the sentence is a simple sentence, a compound sentence, or a complex sentence. And you're going to get some work from this book now, where you're going to use the most appropriate word to join complex sentences as well as compound sentences. All right, enjoy.